Our lives are a string of insights, flashes of inspiration that can be the catalyst for new ideas. However, our pace of life these days means we tend to miss some of them completely. I'm Dave Hill, and I'm the host of the Simple Reflections podcast, a fortnightly series of interviews with people from all walks of life. Our conversations are an invitation to reflect on some of the simple insights my guests have had that have gone on to have a profound impact on their lives. So grab a cuppa and a biscuit, join us, slow down for a little while and see what shows up for you. Welcome to the next episode of the Simple Reflections podcast. Today I'm joined by a wonderful young man called ChiDubem Menakaya. ChiDubem and I met a couple of years ago at the Three Principles conference when he was very kindly helping out as one of the guides that sort of helped make the whole place hang together. And we got chatting in the margins of bits and pieces. And I just really like the vibe of how he feels and how he comes across and what he's interested in. Since then, he's become a transformational coach. He's a speaker, a poet. He sort of uses the tagline of being a soul catalyst, which I love. And yeah, he's a young guy from Grays In Essex. So welcome. Thank you very much for coming to join me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. You know what I mean? Hello to everybody out there in the radio land, podcast land.
You're very, very welcome. I know that, we were chatting before, but, playfulness, having fun, drawing the best out of people is something that you and I are both passionate about. And I just wondered what that looks like for you at the moment, what it's looked like in the journey to getting to where you are today, and what excites you about it.
Yeah, thank you. When I came into the Three Principles understanding, right? For me, one of the cool things was like it wasn't telling me anything that I didn't know, right? And it wasn't like, oh, here's this newfound way of looking at the world. It's like, no, actually, look, oh, I know this stuff. Like I've seen this, but I just see it in a whole new way. And I see the truth of like, oh, what is getting in the way of me actually expressing myself? Like how my thoughts, my thinking get very serious, and very attached, or get fearful about, can I say this or I can't say this? So what just started to happen is that the intuitions, that I had to do things, I called it answering the call. Like it's like I say, it's like God is like calling you, yeah, do this, do this, do this. Like no, no, no. And understanding how I was the one saying no, it had nothing to do with the environment. I was like, yes, let's answer it. Let's just go. Like let's just do it. Like let's just say it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why not? Like, and what I noticed is that not only was the experience more enjoyable, I was also like way more effective, right? Because there just wasn't that resistance in the way. So just to give like a direct example, this is how I came into coaching. This is what I always say to people that I work with, speak to, I do like, let's say we have a 1 hour session to explore, your true desires and your dreams. And sometimes people come to me like, I don't have anything. Like, I don't really know like what I want to do and whatnot. And I was like, trust me, it is right there under the surface. And every time they always come out with like, oh yeah, that's what, oh my God, it's right there, right? So a guy, he loved basketball and he loved watching it, do you know what I mean? And he loved reading about it. And, through this, discovery, it's like, oh, I want to be a basketball writer. Like I want to, and my dream is to go to America and, to interview basketball players and be on podcasts. Right? It's like, yeah, it's all just under the surface. So why did I tell this story in regards to this connection? But when I came into this understanding, I had many years thought about being a coach, or that thought had came to me. Like I worked in a phone shop, and I used to have 2 hour conversations with people. Like every job that I did involved talking to people, So I was always someone people they felt very comfortable just telling like their secrets to, do you know what I mean? And connecting with on that level. And I loved it. Right. So I'd had these little glimmers of moments. Oh, you could be like creative coach. You could be a creative coach or something like that. But I come into this understanding. And then a week later, I was at work and I was speaking with a colleague, first time we ever spoke together. And basically she ended up, well, it links actually to expression. So I was walking down the hallway and I was singing. I remember a song. I was singing Radio Gaga, by Queen and David Bowie, if I don't get it wrong. Yeah. Radio Goo Mr. Radio. Yeah. So I was just singing that. So I was just expressing it. I wasn't holding it back, right? I was singing it. And she was like, "Oh, you've got a nice voice." I was like, "That's nice of you to say." So anyway, we sat down and she told me she was like writing a book. And I said, "Oh, what's the book about?" And she said, it's about her experiences, with MS, and as an adult, like she just woke up with MS, and like half her left side was disabled. And it was a lot of emotional like ups and downs dealing with that and how other people responded to it and treated it differently, so on and so forth. So we literally talked for like 45 minutes, just a beautiful conversation. And after that conversation and another one I had that day, I just had the thought, it's like, man, you could be like, yeah, you could be this coach, man, like this like thing. And I just Googled it. Like that was my kind of, I just Googled it. I found some places. Now, because I'd done something with Michael Neal before that, maybe it was also kind of that as well. So yeah, and that was, 2021. And after then, like I was just like, yeah, I want to make a website, but not because I need one, but because I just want to do a photo shoot. I just want to express my style. So I asked she's a great friend of mine, and she said, "Oh, I know a photographer." So I ended up going to South London, doing all these photographs. The photographs which I still use to this day. Imagine like those professional photographs that I paid for it. I still use them to today. I did like a online course about branding and finding like your colors. Like it was just so everything was so fun, was so flowy. And I remember going back to the lady, who had that initial conversation with, where the idea I want to do coaching, like maybe a month or two later. And she was like, "Oh, what are you up to?" And I was like, "I'm doing this, I'm working with this coach, I'm reading this book." She's like, "How are you like one all day to how you find the time to do this?" I was like, "I don't even know. Like, I didn't even realize until I was talking to you, right? Like, I was just having so much fun. But it's not just fun. Like I'm actually performing like at a way higher level. Like my output is way higher. So
Mm.
so that interconnectedness between fun and playfulness and that energy and performance is something that I'm really really interested in. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, there's something really cool in there. There is a real link between fun, enjoyment, and I'm not going to say effortless productivity, but productivity that doesn't feel effortful.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
you can be working really, really hard, digging a hole or whatever it might be, and just
Mm.
get lost in the moment of that. And you've worked hard,
Mm.
because you're feeling tired, but actually the passage of time, the work that you've done is way more than you probably would have done if you'd gone into it going, "Oh no, here we go. I'm not really feeling this. This is, you know, heavy work."
Mm.
Um, yeah, there's a real lightness that provides us with energy that we may not realize is there within us before we start.
Mm. And I definitely think like that's one of the keys, right? You don't know before you start. Like, and the thinking, normal thinking or legacy being, whatever way you want to put it, would say, "Oh, you can't do this because you're tired or because of this or because of that." But you can't know. You can believe that, but that doesn't mean that that's the truth, because this is where we go to what's just impersonal truths, right? One of the principle of mind is that there is a universal life force, there is an infinite intelligence that flows through everything, right? That is the intelligence that is allowing us to breathe. There's billions of processes going on right now in our body that we have no awareness of, but they're happening, right? They're keeping us alive. I'm in this room, right? I'm in this building. I'm in a co-working space in Old Street. You know what I mean? Like, how did this building get built? You know what I mean? Like, how many people put that together? How many the idea came from nothing to something? So that intelligence is creative, and that intelligence is aliveness. Like that's an aliveness of energy that when you allow it to come through, you're not as tired as you'd think you are, right? It's like when you get up in the morning, like I've been getting up, recently, right? Got maybe like 5 a.m. Sometimes earlier, sometimes a little bit later. To go to the gym. You wake up like, oh, I'm tired and whatnot, but I get up in 5 minutes. Shoes when I'm out the door, right? Then when I'm on the train, fine. I get to the gym, I'm fine. You know. Like the innocent illusion is that the way that you feel before you do something has anything to do with you actually doing it or not.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's an element of trial and error with that.
Mm,
That it's given the fact that we are only ever experiencing our thoughts in the moment through our feelings, until we've explored the boundaries of the art of the possible there, then
mm,
it looks like that's absolutely true.
100%.
Um, the more playful we get with that and go, okay, well, let's just see what shows up from that. Let's give it a shot anyway. Um, the the more we see the illusion of that pre concept of what's going to happen. Um, yeah, and I think that the biggest thing for me with this whole idea is knowing that it's absolutely true for me
Mm,
and it's absolutely true for everybody else on the planet.
mm,
And then it's just uh, you know inviting people into the possibility that that might be true for them, and seeing what shows up.
mm. And it's like, I know it's true, but I will still fall
Mm.
into that. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. This is hard. This is, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like you said, the trial and error, like it has to be a lived experience. It's not something that you can just get from a book. Like a book can point you to it, but ultimately it is in the action, it is in the experience that you get to see it for yourself, like
Mhm.
in real time. And the more that you do, you kind of just get used to, like, yes, I'm probably gonna feel like not doing it beforehand, but I kind of just know what's on the other side of this. Or I don't know exactly the form what's on the other side of it, but I know that something beautiful will be on it. That's why I love writing, and that's why when I, write my poems are like, I know if I just start with the first line, like I don't need to, if anything, when I'm trying to work out the whole concept, everything, like it doesn't work. Like I'm getting too bogged down in it, and then I'm putting pressure on myself to meet some sort of expectation that I've set for myself. When I'm like, that's a fire idea, I'm just gonna start with the first line, and I'm just gonna keep going and going and going. And you know what? Like these things that take me maybe like 5, 10 minutes. Like that was where it was like, wow, like there is that, because that is like beyond me. And when it's like something that you're good at, let's say, or comes with ease to you, and people say like, wow, like that's amazing how you do it. And you're kind of like, yeah, that's just whatever. You know what I mean? Like you don't see that like, no, that's bad. You know what I mean? You can see it in others, but it's like it's hard to see it like in yourself. Like people like, bro, where you be there? I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's whatever. And more, I'm actually saying like, the more I'm grounding, like, that's your essence. Like, do you know what I mean? That is dope. The more I can appreciate that,
Mhm.
the more I can allow that to come through and like give it to the world, and everyone has it like in their own different ways, not just talking about specific, talents like maybe drawing or writing or whatever, but like everyone has their unique essence that they innocently like just take for granted, like, and just diminish, do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like write off, you know what I mean? Like very innocently, but it's like, no, that is the thing that is, speaking through you, like that is, guiding you. So I don't know if I've gone on a little bit of a tangent there, but
No, it's all good.
yeah.
No, there's I suppose it's like anything. Life is something that has been unfolding since we were born.
Mm,
We've been learning things on a minute by minute basis and not necessarily appreciating that, taking
mm,
some of that for granted,
mm,
seeing some of it as hard, and potentially we wish we hadn't been down that path, but actually it's created the opportunity for where we are right now and seeing what is possible from there. Um, and then also looking the other way, all of the opportunity in front of us for
mm,
learning and growing and deepening in the art of the possible for us,
mm,
which is really, really exciting.
mm,
Um, you know, it's completely true, but I say it slightly jokingly when I'm speaking to some of my clients that I'm really sorry, but you're getting the worst version of me, because by the end of this conversation, I will be better than I was when I started. And I
Mm,
can't do anything about that. That's just how it works. Um, and so this is the most ignorant version you're ever going to get. But I'll be better by the time we meet again next time. But again, we'll be back in the same place. And they go, what? That we're always there. We're always in that space. Um, but if we're open to the fact that we will just grow, and that's natural and normal, well, bring it on. Let's see what there is to learn, rather than hanging on to the things that I know to be true from the past that I think might define me.
mm. Duh, that's I just want to let that sit for a little second. Like you was spitting, like you was really spitting there for real. Like that that thing of, we've always been like learning from from we was born, like the unfolding before we was born. We just it just take it for granted, right? Like innocently, but it has always worked like that. How we learned
Mm,
how to walk, how we learned how to talk, how we learned how to write, how to read, how to speak, specific jobs, specific crafts, like everything. It's always been there. And the more, I guess, consciousness of it, right? Because I really think all of this, transformation principles, stuff, it's just becoming more conscious of what's always been happening. It's not about like learning something new. I
mm,
used to call it like it's like it's like if you watch a movie and Quentin Tarantino watches a movie, like you're watching the same thing, but you're seeing two very different things. Do you know what I mean? So what you said to your clients, like they're like, what? Like, because you've been, do you know what I mean?
mm,
In film school, do you know what I mean? And you understand it, like, yeah, the mechanics, yeah, that's just kind of how it works. Like everything is learning, like what you're sharing is gonna imprint here. There's this is a mountain with no top, right? It's like infinite levels of consciousness. Like you catch me today, like I'm loving it, I'm feeling great. Listen, you catch me in a month time, like, bro, it's a whole different type of ball game you're gonna be looking at, like for real. It only just goes up. And even in the quote unquote dark times, I went through a very challenging period over the last, couple months, like August, July, should I say, you know, but I could feel my awareness and it was different. Like I've been through, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Like I've been through depressive periods like throughout my whole life. But like that was one of the things that really shifted in its understanding is that not that I didn't have lows, but my awareness to it was different. It was a
mm,
very different experience of relating to it. I knew it was going to end. That was number one. Number two, I knew there was something in there for me to see that I didn't have to see it this moment, but I knew that at some point I would see it, you know?
mm,
And it kind of gave me, in moments as well. There'd be these moments of like the wisdom coming through, and I was like, man, you've got everything you ever need. I was really there, like, bro, I'm living the dream. Like, I'm actually living the dream. Like, I used to have this saying, like, my floor, my floor was my ceiling. So, what is my lowest point now? Like a year, 2 years ago, that was like a dream. Does that make sense?
yep,
Like,
yep,
so I'm low, but I'm still in the world. Like I was still connecting with people. I was still, coaching clients. I was still going places. Like I was still, do you know what I mean? Moving. Like whereas before that would have been, I wouldn't have been doing any of that time. I've been hiding under a cover, do you know what I'm saying, like borderline wanting to disappear. So that unfolding like has always been there without me even knowing it, guiding me without, that's the when you start going over there, it's kind of like you can't even comprehend around it, like how anything happens, how me and you are talking right now. Do you know what I mean? Because it really just I obviously we met 2 years ago, we connected from there, but we hadn't spoken in a while.
mhm.
And I put that post on LinkedIn like 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, and then you reached out, and you said, "Oh, he's got a podcast," and then, here we are. Like this time, do you know what I mean? It's like what?
Yeah. It's following what feels right.
Mm,
And I was speaking to someone yesterday that's considering doing some training in this world. Um, And she said in her heart, it feels like this is a really good thing. I want to do it. It feels right. And then, but then I get these thoughts. Oh
Mm,
yeah, okay, tell me about them. And it's a very natural thing when we are on the cusp of committing to change our worldview.
mm,
Our current worldview gets a bit worried about that because
mm,
whoa, we've got this.
mm,
We're holding it together, but we've got it. So why would you possibly even consider doing something like that?
mm,
So that's all that nagging thought is doing. It can't see the possibility of what's coming because it's got no experience of it.
mm,
And uh, and it's a beautiful thought because it's trying to keep us safe. But people end up getting torn between this
mm,
looks like something that would be really beneficial, but I just can't. Um, you know, it reminds me of being a teenager, being in the cadet forces. I knew from almost from birth that I wanted to be a soldier. But anyway, that's a different story. But being at the sort of summer camp thing, and the first time I was introduced to abseiling,
mm,
and you've got the instructors there, and you've got your rope and the safety rope thing that you're attached to, and you're edging towards the edge of something really, really dangerous. Going, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing? And getting more and more nervous about it, and everything going, stop, stop, stop. This is daft. And what everybody else is doing, I probably could make this work. And then just getting beyond the point of no return. And as soon as you're there, you go, okay, no, this is fine. I'm still safe. I
mm,
might be standing on a vertical wall now, but no, I'm safe as houses here. Right, well, let's start making some steps down the wall. Okay, that works. Wonder what happens if I bounce.
mm.
And then I remember vividly the cliff we were going down had an overhang. So you then had a period of no rock face. Like, okay, well yeah, it was okay up there, but I don't think I can do this next bit. And then taking that leap of faith, knowing that actually I was completely safe and that my mind was trying to keep me safe. I didn't know it at that, didn't see it quite then. And then the thrill of just dangling on a piece of rope and heading towards the ground and being in control of that, going, right, let's get back up there. That was great. I want to go again and see how quickly I can get down this with the least amount of jumps. Whereas before, it's like, I'm not going over the edge of that. Um, we tell ourselves stories all the time to keep ourselves safe, um, despite all of the evidence that's there available to us to say, no, this is perfectly okay. Um, and that is a wonderful gift to know that you've got this safety mechanism and
Mm,
also that you get the opportunity to go, thank you for checking. I've done my homework. I'm ready
mm.
for this.
And that's the thing, even when, knowing the the constants, that you're always safe and innate health and what I mean, it's like your thoughts and your thoughts are creative, you can change them. Like you will still feel like I still feel those things, but it's the relationship with it is different, right? And I was just thinking what you shared, like instead of instead of that being the end of the story, like it's just the start of the story,
Mm,
or it's just a part of the story,
yeah.
those feelings. Um, and isn't it cool, right? Like it wouldn't be as fun. But anyway, like it wouldn't be as fun without it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like it was just like, hey, I'm just fucking whatever, and I just fucking jump off a cliff, and it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like no, it's like, oh, didn't want to do this. Oh, step, oh, back, oh, okay, oh, but not that. But it's like a symphony now. Like,
I was I was listening to an audio book earlier on the drive back home, and there was a really lovely bit in there. It's by Steve Chandler. I can't remember the title, but he was saying that every problem has a solution. But if you flip that on its head, every solution has a problem.
That's a problem.
And
That's nice.
we are designed to tackle challenges and come up with
Mm,
solutions. You know,
mm.
that is how we've become the creatures on the planet that we are today, is
Mm,
this capacity to see a challenge and work out a way to solve it
mm,
for ourselves in that moment. It might not be the optimum solution, but we've got the capacity to be able to tackle it head on and see what
mm,
shows up and come up with a plan. And we'll learn from that. Like you were saying, your ceiling becoming the grounding that you're leaping off from.
mm,
Once you've tried the solution once, you go, actually, I could improve on that.
mm.
I was speaking to Sylvie yesterday, who you also met at the conference, and he was saying, I think I've become a lazy genius. I said, okay, describe that to me. He goes, well, I just keep coming up with solutions to things that make stuff happen more efficiently. Rather than taking the hard option, let's try and find the easiest way to solve
Mhm,
this problem. And he was
mhm,
thinking about work stuff.
mm.
And he goes, yeah, I think I'll stick with lazy genius.
But this is like, so when you talk about grounding, and I think there was a recording with Michael Neal and George Pransky. Um, I'm talking about grounding and like, the grounding is like you just see more, like you see more of what was always there. Like the solution was always there, but if you have the I don't want to say limited perspective, but every perspective is limited. But so I will use that even more limited perspective of what's possible. Then you just won't even see it. Like it's right there, but you won't even see it. But as you expand more into the truth of who you are, you'll just see things there because they're just less. There's less resistance. Like there's just less attachment to resistance. Because because we have the solution will come like, oh, why didn't I call this person? No, I can't call this person. I'm not the type of person to call that person. I'm not the type, when there's just no resistance, yeah, I fucking just call them. Right. And then it allows it to look, I called them, all right, that didn't work. Oh, but this other person, let me call them. Okay, how you doing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, good. Boom. Let's go. Right. Like it's just it allows the space to just try things out. And that allows the space for this intelligence to just work and do you know what I mean and to
Mm,
guide and that's from that space any result is available if you're willing to engage with the process or should I say allow the process to engage you know yeah, that was a nice flip. I like that one. Yeah. No, I feel it. You have to, I'll be feeling myself. I'll be like, yeah, yeah, I can feel it. That one was fire. Allow the process to engage you.
yeah. um, so I'd be really interested to hear what it is that you're getting up to in the world at the moment. What's got you excited and yeah, full of energy for the next thing. What's going on?
So the next thing, and this is like, I was talking about that period over the last couple months, that I went through. And my coach, she said something beautiful, which will link into this. She said, now you can see or see even more so that those moments are like birthing, like they can give birth to something new. And what I was becoming more aware to in that time period is like the intricate link between living in your purpose and well-being, you know, and living into your dreams and well-being. That when you're not actively living into your dreams, how that can have an effect, but more so like in your thoughts, how that can have an effect in your thoughts in a way that you see yourself. Not that that's the ultimate truth, but on the flip side, when you are just allowing the process to engage you, the aliveness that brings, the impact that has on others, and the impact that has on performance. So something has come to mind to me about for my particular, generally my clients, not 100%, but generally my clients are between the ages of like 25 to 35 or so. Working professionals, but who have like entrepreneurial like ambitions, heart-centered entrepreneurial ambitions, something they want to bring into the world, something they've thought about for a long time, but felt stuck, felt fearful about putting themselves out there, lost in the thoughts and confusion of what do I do and how do I start and so on and so forth, right? And I see that like people see like a disconnect between their job and like what they actually want to do, right? So it's like, okay, I'm doing this job. It's not really what I want to do in the long term. It takes up a lot of time and energy, but obviously it pays the bills. There's the thing that I really want to do, but it's not paying the bills. I'm not really making that much movement in it, and I can't really tell people in my work about my job. And I was like, well, I feel like it makes sense if you harmonized all of that. Like what if you could bring your dreams to work, right? And what if you could actually see how you could leverage where you're at to get to where you want to be, and how that would actually not just benefit you, how it would actually benefit the organization as well. You know, how you could create possibilities where you are, right? And I spoke to a friend. I said, I want to just try this out, right? And he's he's got a job and he's a coach as well, right? So see, he has great ambitions. He's an amazing young man, and we sat down for an hour, and it was basically like I was just asking him, what's the job? What do you do? Who are the people involved and whatnot? And basically, he kind of works in business support, you could say, right? And works with a team. He supports a team of people. And I was like, what are the common problems? Stress. People feel there's so much work to do, lack of communication, high turnover, rate. So I was like, well, what if you plug that gap? What if you could create workshops in there? Like I was just pointing out these different things and how actually the organization they should help you pay for your training, because you're going to be helping them. So that's going to help you as well, because you're coaching, you're growing, coaching, this, right? There's investments, you know what I mean, into this one-to-one coaching group programs, like whatever it is, that's our craft, that's our speciality. So just seeing that, I was like, oh, there's so many more people like that who have that, either this or either that. I'm like, why not all of it?
Mm.
So that's my exploration, like, and yeah, we just take it step by step. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I could see how this could, it could make a real, impact, out there, like in the world. Because it goes to what I was saying earlier. Like, there's so much gold that we're sitting on, that we don't even realize and we don't even acknowledge. And not just the gold of who we are as people, but gold of like everything that we actually have around us, like the connections, the support, the arenas where we are, and that's the grounding piece. When your grounding is maybe a little bit shaky, you're in that fear and in that stress, like it blinkers you, so you don't look up and be like, oh, actually, like it's just right there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's literally right there. I can connect this to this, but it takes someone such as myself, if I don't mind me saying that, like I can open up that, I'll be like, hey, look there, it's right there. It's right there. And you don't have to like, because many people don't want to leave their job. It's another thing I realized. Like many people don't want to go leave their job and go self-employed full time. It's a jungle out here. Do you know what I mean? Like if you could build a bridge, it links to like, it's like I wish I had someone like me when I was in my job.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to do these things like kind of how I can leverage work to where I want to be. But I was doing them again on a level of consciousness that I was aware to. Like I don't get it like I did now. But if I did, I would have been able to build that bridge. Like it'd be a lot smoother in some ways, and I would have got way more experience doing the thing that I want to do. I could actually have got more experience doing that in the workplace. I got a lot of experience, by the way, because I was a work coach. I used to have 20 conversations a day, so I did get a lot of experience anyway. But there's more possibilities there, right? So that's something that I'm really really excited about. And then I said I'm doing a workshop. Well, one will be before this comes out, but I'm doing another one on Wednesday, the 2nd of October. It's going to continue this exploration, because it's not just about leveraging the workplace resources. It's really about like stepping into your power and like leadership and like freedom. The freedom to express who you truly are in any environment. The freedom to really ask for like what you want, the freedom to bring people into a whole new conversation, like of what's possible, like that's just an example. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be even a job. This applies to self-employed people as well. Because what will happen is there's way more opportunities and possibilities to make a difference in your network than you probably even see. And I'm including
Mhm.
myself in this. This is not a one-way directive conversation. So yeah, that's something, yeah, you can hear I'm quite excited about.
That's really cool. And you're bang on. We everybody, me, everybody forgets the breadth and depth of their own immediate network and thinks they need to be serving people they don't know.
Mm,
um, and struggle with the idea of how they find them. And it's the
mm,
same as if you're looking for some form of support, you are looking for it beyond your network because
mm,
you you think you haven't got the resources that you require currently. So you're bang on. That there is a richness to the world that we live in already, that is there for exploring and getting creative with.
is
And yeah, and the more we lean into that and trust it, the you know the faster things tend to start running in a positive way.
it just what just from what you're sharing, like what just came up for me is like how do you know? You know? Because that's the limitation that comes in. No, I can't talk to this person about that. I go, well, how do you know? Like we think we know people, but we only know our thinking of people. Like we
Mm.
don't, right? Even like partners, mothers, fathers, sons. Like there's so much more layers to people than you know what I mean. We'd ever know. You know, you're like, oh no, they wouldn't be interested in. How do you know? Unless they've told you they were interested in that. But even that was yesterday. Why wouldn't how could they not be interested today? And anyway, that's actually kind of none of my business whether they're interested or not. My business is to just offer conversation. They don't want to take it. All right, well, just go ask somebody else. I mean, right, like this, just the less friction, the less about me, the less resistance, and getting to explore beyond that, right? Because and that being part of the exploration. Like I thought it was this. And it's like goes to the Aristotle quote, right? All I know is I know nothing. So I thought it was this. I don't fucking know anything. You know what I mean? Like even this, I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. This is the workshop, and this is I get it. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about, but in a week's time, I'm gonna be about Dave. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. Like it's something else.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely something in following the the route that feels the simplest, the
Mm,
one with the least friction, the least
mm,
resistance.
mm,
Um, you know, that, and it's really, really funny.
mm,
The more I explore that, the more I see it's always been part of life for
mm,
me.
mm,
The when you create an operational plan in the army, you've got an idea of how things are going to play out from your point of view before you press play. And you are in absolute knowledge that your opponent is doing exactly the same thing, and that what you decide you want to do isn't necessarily going to work. So you're going into it with an open mind from that point of view. Um, the army, uses fairly full-on language about it, but it talks about exploiting success. So if you find something that you weren't expecting, follow that, because you'll be able to move faster than you thought you might have been able to. You need to be aware of the consequences of what that might create. But by following that success, you're likely to disrupt whatever was going to be the opposing side. Now,
mm,
why do I say that just now? It's the same with our mind. you know when it looks difficult and clunky, and we see a ray of light, follow that ray of light, and the
mm,
difficult and clunky thought will get discombobulated by it, and we'll be able to move on much faster than we ever imagined. um And I think that, that's just an amazing gift that's built into every single one of us. And you and I have the privilege of being able to shine a light on that for people in a way that they might not have seen before.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's a beautiful reflection and the simplicity, It's a simplicity, we love talking about, what I mean, this stuff like that's our hobby. We love it and it's fun and it's great to because it's awesome. But like just bringing it back to the simplicity of like, just follow that feeling, follow that, that ray of light, and you know what? It will actually, and this I've found, it will turn out, it will be better than you could even have imagined,
Mm.
So it will more than likely include what you imagined and so much more that you never
Yeah,
could have imagined,
yeah.
Yeah.
ChiDubem, has been lovely, lovely to chat to you.
Thank you.
It's so great to hear what you're up to, and I wish you all the best with those 2 workshops you've got coming up. We'll share the link to the one on the 2nd,
Yeah.
and for ways to people to get hold of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Is there anything that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Listen, I'm a poet, so it's like old school, artist. You can't go on the show without dropping some lines, So I'd love to share, the presence of the essence, one of my poems. I think it actually ties in quite nicely, with this. So what's possible in the presence of the essence, allowing the light to shine, contradictions and conflictions, the feeling of restriction, merely an invitation to explore new horizons and destinations beyond your hesitations. Look within, and let the light that moves you move others. Sisters and brothers, friends and lovers, will take a well-needed rest on your ship of possibility, the calmness of which settles any internal hostilities and points to a light that's not up in the sky or way up high. It's a light that shines so bright, no light could ever dim its pitch, could ever dim its switch, or even quiet its pitch, except you. And that's okay too. Because without the feeling of inner poverty, you could never feel the inner wealth. Without the feeling of the inner prison, you can never feel the inner freedom. To cut the short story long, what made you weak is what made you strong. The fire in your light never switched off and never dimmed. It continues to shine bright, whether you're her or him. And as you allow the colors of your light to flow and end up in a twirl, you not only change yourself, you change the world.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Really kind of you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed the conversation, feel free to subscribe and join me and my new guest next time. If you're interested in the work I'm doing, or you think I can be of service to you or your organisation, please email dave@simplicityofmind.co.uk. Remember, see if you can find time to slow down and reflect. Those simple ideas might be worth listening to. Take care, and I hope you can join me in a couple of weeks.